Good morning. Claire Downham here with some more steps to take you from stress to inner peace. And this morning, I want to talk about all the things that you may have tried to manage your well-being in some way, shape or form. So the main focus I talk about often is stress, but you could relate this to anxiety, to depression, to PTSD, to a lot of things that perhaps we have been given as labels and then attempt to fix ourselves. And what I've begun to notice is that when somebody tries something, or a business tries something to help their staff, and that thing fails. So let's take meditation, for example. So I have, hands up, done a lot of meditation in my time. So I used to meditate every single day, done that consistently, in fact, for about 4 years, and only recently stopped. So let's take meditation for an example, where perhaps you've tried meditation, or you've had somebody come in from outside to teach you meditation. Perhaps you, as a business owner, you've had that done for your staff, and it doesn't work for everybody. So absolutely, meditation benefits some people in terms of helping them to perhaps be more peaceful and calm during the time when they're doing it. And obviously there is some neuroscience behind the long-term benefits of it. However, it doesn't work for everybody. And what I'm beginning to notice is that where something doesn't work for someone, this has a really quite considerable knock-on effect. So if, for example, you've tried meditation to address your stress or anxiety, and that doesn't work for you, then there's a good chance that you will not blame meditation for that. You won't say it's the fault of meditation that I don't feel better. You are much more likely, and I hear this from my clients all the time, you are much more likely to blame yourself. And not only blame yourself, but also to take that as another nail in the coffin that this is who you are. You are anxious. You are just a person who is stressed. And to embed those labels even more deeply. And I'll share a link to a blog I wrote recently in the comments regarding the labels of mental illness, because I do think they have a considerable create a considerable block in terms of people not being that way anymore. So letting go of that anxious thinking and depressed thinking, and the thinking related to that traumatic thing that happened in the past. And this is a trap, I think, that is innocently we're falling into this trap, and innocently those people who want to help are doing the same, where there is a sense that there are all these things that can help you, and as you try each one, so I particularly see this with anxiety, people who've had a long-term diagnosis of anxiety as a label, so they will say, I am anxious, I have anxiety. They are caught in that being who they really are. And we are not our thinking. And that's not who that person really is. But the more different tools and techniques we try, the more embedded it becomes that we are unfixable. That there is nothing that can help me, because I have had anxiety for a very long time. And this is what I hear my clients say. And I've tried everything. And every single thing that you try takes you a step further to believe that you're not okay. Because if you've tried strategy A through to Z and you have run out of strategies, then why would you not believe that that means that you are broken and you cannot be fixed? And you might as well take that medication for the rest of your life or be engaged in continual management of that issue, because there isn't anything else. But the good news is there is something else. There's a better understanding of where all of this stuff is coming from. And it's so simple that it's sometimes hard to hear. That 100% of your experience comes through thought in the moment. And it's so simple that as a strategy to help people understand that and therefore let go of those labels, it sometimes seems like it's too good to be true. But it's not a pyramid selling scheme. It definitely is good and true. All those tools and techniques are working based on correlation, but not causation. I didn't initially say that. Somebody else did, and I can't remember who. I should try and tag them in this talk. So let me talk about that. So what generally happens with the creation of some kind of tool or technique to help people is that somebody finds themselves in a difficult position and they seek help and they find something eventually that works for them, and they are so grateful that they feel better, that with a passion they then want to go out and share that. And why the heck wouldn't you? That is beautiful, that there are people out there who want to help other people. It's just wonderful. However, because invariably that doesn't work for everybody, there are all these tools and techniques out there that have worked for some people, absolutely, but they're not consistently working. So that's where there is some correlation, as in, yes, this has worked for quite a group of people, but there is not causation. This thing will not always produce this result. But that doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you as an individual. It just means that it's too complicated. A lot of these tools and techniques are just too complicated. When you understand how you're really working, it allows you to just look at life in a completely different way. Every single thought that you have is made up. It's just not true. If you are saying, I am anxious, that is coming from thought, and it's just not true. In a moment, you may feel anxiety, you may have anxious thinking, but that is not a label that you need to wear. That is not a needle. That is not a needle. That is not a label that you have to wear. And what's interesting about this understanding of how we create our experiences, this is one thing that is true for everyone. It doesn't really matter where your thinking came from. So, for example, perhaps if you've been in counselling for many years, you will have been told that the way you feel today is created because something happened to you in the past. But again, there is some correlation around those things, but there is not 100% causation, because two groups of people can walk into a room or into a space and experience the same thing, see the same thing. And one group will come out with PTSD and the other group won't. So there isn't this causation that we think there is. However, where there is causation is that when you think something, you feel that in your body. And it can only come from that place, because the outside circumstances to you Do not have a syringe of adrenaline to whack in your arm so that you then have a panic attack. That is not how we work. The outside circumstances can't be doing that to us because they just don't have the ability. It has to be our thought about those things. And just by understanding that, it's like the fact that you and I all know gravity works the way it does. Not in a kind of sciencey way, in an embodied understanding way. We know not to drop things. If I pick up my glass of water and let go of it, I know I'm going to be walking around in broken glass and water, which is no fun, and I don't want to do that. But if you don't understand where your experience is really coming from, you can end up walking around in the glass and broken water of your emotions on a day by day, moment by moment basis. So I'm just gonna refer to some comments from, thank you, David. So that it is sad the client is blamed for the inappropriate interventions, and I do think most of that blame comes from that person. They're not. It's not the therapist who says, you're not very good at this counselling thing, are you? It's internally we do that to ourselves. I was on this journey for 4 years of, my thing was going from depression into procrastination. So as a functioning person, I always had this underlying feeling that I was procrastinating, and I sought lots of help to stop that happening. And in the end realised I was making that up, because procrastination cannot go in a wheelbarrow and therefore can only exist in thought, and therefore isn't really a thing unless we make it up to be one. So we make up all our goals and targets and things we should do, and then we beat ourselves up because we don't do them. Anyway, that's a whole other video which I will come on to at some point. So it's that internal blaming that happens, and the reinforcing of the unfixability of a person. So David also says, understand the client narrative, then design bespoke tools. So that's really interesting in that my work with individuals now is built mostly on presence. So for me, as somebody who works with individuals, without all those tools and techniques in my head, trying to kind of think, oh, well, what will this person need? What can I do at the end of the session? You know, they're going to have their little talky bit, and then I'm going to do my tool or technique at the end to fix them. Without all that on my mind, I can just be present. And then from that place, I can guide people to understand where their experience is coming from. Nothing else. No tools, no techniques, no poking and prodding of the issue. Just looking in a different direction. Because with a lot of these therapeutic techniques, unfortunately, they're looking continually at the issue and poking and prodding it and unfurling it and trying to work out where it came from in the past. That just creates more thinking about that thing. And when you realize the experience is coming from thought in the moment, we don't need to look at that thing anymore. We've looked at it for long enough, guys. I don't know about you with your mental health, but I've spent a lot of time looking at what's wrong with me. And now I look towards how I'm creating that experience. What's wrong with me has just gone. It's just gone. It's left me, which is heaven. So what to do about this? Feels like a bit of a mission. It's just about looking in a different direction. If you have spent years and years poking and prodding at your mental health label, and still you are still fighting that battle and are exhausted and sick and tired of it, or if you're a business who's got a staff room, that's an ex-head teacher talking, a business full of people who are becoming increasingly stressed, particularly in these interesting times, then it's time to look at something else. Surely it's time to look in a different direction to the truth and the facts and the principles of where our experience comes from, that it comes from thought in the moment. And there is just nothing to do but to deepen your understanding of that. And when you get an embodied understanding, like our embodied understanding of gravity, then there is a peacefulness that comes from that. Oh, I feel quite emotional now. Could have a little cry live on LinkedIn and YouTube and wherever else I'm going live at the moment. So I'm going to leave that with you. You are not your label. That is just a thought, and it probably wasn't even put there by you in the first place. Oh, beautiful. Thank you, Donna. Donna says, morning, Claire. Morning, Donna. Being more than doing is the key. That's beautiful. Yeah. We don't need to do anything else. We just need to be, and we just need to realise that who we really are is not broken and unfixable and a label. And I don't know why I'm getting so emotional, but I don't care, because it's okay. It's all good. This is all good. It's all fine. Tears are marvellous. Enjoy the rest of your day. And just for a day, just don't do anything about it. You don't need to keep doing things about it. All that doing hasn't worked so far. So maybe it's time to stop. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful day, everyone. Thanks for watching.